Contrarians, welcome back to the Encrypted Capital Recap for Thursday, April 14th. First off, we got Bitcoin trading at 40,671. We'll look at the Bitcoin dominance. Got 41.67. That is falling slightly, which is obviously what we want to see in order to get some sort of moves from the altcoins. We'll check out the total altcoin market here. We got that trading at just under $1.1 trillion. Obviously, we want to see all that stuff start moving to the upside. We'll check out our favorite crypto XRP. That is retracing slightly around 71.5 cents. So let's dive into the news real quick here. We got Bitcoin could hit $100,000 within a year. Crypto firm's CEO predicts. It says that Antony Trenchoff, CEO of crypto lending firm Nexo, has predicted 100K within a year. He said that Bitcoin could fall in tandem with traditional financial markets, which, yes, they are, or crypto, I should say, is tied to the stock market, at least for now, as the Federal Reserve unwinds its massive stimulus policy. But eventually, a crash in stocks could force the Fed back into easing, he said. He also said there are still some headwinds for the crypto market as the global regulatory environment remains fragmented and the digital currency still remains volatile. Now, I always got to take what these guys say with a grain of salt because you really got to dive into who these guys are and where they've worked previously when they start floating out these crazy price predictions. And the one reason that I want to mention that is because if you guys remember back in 2017, 2018, the narrative was that Bitcoin was going to 100K, and that was when it was trading around $15,000, $16,000, and it only went up to 20. So you really have to ask yourselves these questions. Who are putting out these price predictions? Why are they putting out these price predictions? And could there be an ulterior motive? You always got to have the contrarian mindset and look at things from the opposite point of view. So we'll go ahead here. We dive into his LinkedIn real quick. Check him out. As we can see here, he's got, actually, I don't want to see his activity here. Don't go to that. Let's go back. All right. So, co-founder of Nexo, obviously. And then he's also, or was formerly, the chief innovation officer and legal advisor. And then right here, you go ahead and you look and you see he's the member of parliament over at the Republic of Bulgaria, right? And you tap this and you go down and you see all the ties that he has to the Committee of European Affairs, Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, etc., etc. So, like I said, take what these guys say with a grain of salt. I wouldn't be going all in on Bitcoin at 100K. Even if it does hit that, you're going to get way better gains in a lot of these other assets. And I also want to bring up, talking about people that bring up crazy price predictions. We'll go ahead and we'll bring up Mike Novogratz here, and we'll talk about him because people looked at him a lot for information when he was talking about Bitcoin holding around $40,000, and this was back on December 15th. And so if we go back here and we look at December 15th, I have that pinpointed right here on the chart. December 15th, around that time it came out, Bitcoin was trading at 48,000. It had already started to fall from the mid 60s. And then sure enough, you got people thinking that Bitcoin is going to hold the floor at 40K, and then it falls even further, almost down to 30K, about 32,000. So, then you go and dive into Novogratz. He's former Goldman Sachs, and their Goldman Sachs partnership has been ramped up with Bitcoin trading as they're starting to use their applications. And a lot of people from Goldman Sachs are going over to Galaxy Digital. And like I said, you got Novogratz. He began his career with Goldman Sachs back in 1989. Goldman Sachs is one of the biggest banks, and they're pretty much probably on all the opposite sides of your guys' trades. So keep that in mind when you start seeing these, people of high profiles start floating these numbers out, because I always think that there's an ulterior motive there because they want to push the price down even lower than they say so they can buy up everybody's fear that the floor is going to fall out. And the same thing when the prices go up. Remember that, during that big hype campaign when Tesla started adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet, Saylor started adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. That was basically a 3-month distribution period where they were dumping in all their followers, and it was all the laser eyes and diamond hands and all that bullshit. And sure enough, the retail traders got wrong-footed and, buying in at 65K because Elon's in the game. you're sitting underwater at one point, almost 50% of your money. So keep that stuff in mind when you start seeing these predictions getting floated out here, because I can guarantee you they're probably going to be wrong. And going back to Bitcoin and the case for 100K, we do know, and I know that Backers brought this up a ton on his channel, but it did reach out to the 4.236 extension, a very technical spot for the price action for Bitcoin. A lot of people think it's going to break higher than that. You're going to have a lot of momentum to push it up higher than $70,000. And even if it did push above $70,000, you're going to, there's a good chance that you're probably going to have a lot of longs get entered in around that price range, and then the price could fall back down. We see that happen time and time again, and actually happened back here. If you go ahead and look, the price pushed up a little bit past the previous high of $64,000. All the longs started getting entered at that price point, and sure enough, it fell back on itself. And you're looking at roughly, 50% decrease. So keep that stuff in mind. Like I said, also another one, you got Kathy Wood talking about our $1 million price target over at the Bitcoin conference in Miami. These guys can be right sometimes, but a lot of times they're going to be wrong, and there's a reason for that. I also wanted to note we got the Gemini crypto exchange. They launched their credit card in the United States. It said that the users can get their cash back reward in over 60 different cryptocurrencies supported by Gemini, which I thought was cool. It was nice that basically they'll go ahead and they'll convert whatever rewards you want from US dollars into the crypto of your choice. Only thing is that you guys got to kind of be careful with that. Like, what if you get paid out, let's say you have $1,000 in rewards that you earned when Bitcoin was $65,000. Well, those rewards just dropped by 50% over the course of a few months. Well, now you got less money. You're probably going to want to take your rewards in dollars anyway, and then just enter into the markets at the price targets you feel are good entry points, and maybe not always have your rewards go right into crypto, because you're earning crypto, cool, but if that money drops 30-40% over time, that doesn't really do you any good. So also wanted to note, New York Post came out with an article talking about Bitcoin fans are psychopaths who don't care about anyone, study shows. Found that pretty funny. It says that the lead author, Dr. D. Wang, wrote in the conversation, dark tetrad traits, sorry, I can't talk today, are dark because of their evil qualities. It says extreme selfishness and taking advantage of others without empathy. That's what he sees Bitcoin investors doing. And I thought it was just a really dumb ass article. Basically, he ends it saying, if you're a crypto fan yourself, don't fear. This study doesn't suddenly make you evil. We studied only a subset of people interested in crypto who have these traits, and that can go for basically anything. It doesn't have to just be crypto. So it says if you happen to be a Bitcoin or other crypto holder, you may or may not exhibit them. So basically, this whole article is absolutely worthless. I don't even know why they wrote this. Also wanted to note real quick before we wrap up here, Rich Dad, Poor Dad author says one Ethereum competitor is just getting started, predicts inflation will wipe out U.S. economy. So it says the author of a personal finance book published over 20 years ago, Kiyosaki, is diversifying his crypto portfolio while predicting a looming major market crisis. I have a big issue with Kiyosaki because this guy has literally been calling for a market crash for like the last 10 years. I found this chart. I'm not sure exactly how accurate it is, but I'm assuming it's probably accurate. You guys can go dive in and correct me if it's wrong, but it basically pulls all his tweets from 2011 all the way up to now, stating, all the way back 10 years ago, for the educated, the economic crash is the best time to get rich. Guess what? This crashing is not over. And then he says, I've been predicting since 2002 we'd see a stock market crash in 2016. Still not happening. So you have to think, these guys are all plugged in. I mean, I know Kiyosaki's like good friends with Donald Trump, as well as a lot of other high net worth individuals, people of power. When these guys come out and make these statements, they're there to scare you and take your money, in my opinion. Like I said, I could totally be wrong, but why else would a guy be calling for a crash over the last 12 years at all these pivotal times? It's really just to scare the traders out, take your hard-earned money, and then run with it. So whatever you see Kiyosaki say, take with a grain of salt as well, because this guy, like I said, he's been wrong for a very long time. And it says when he was asked about the U.S. dollar inflation, the one-time best-selling author claimed a large portion of Americans don't even have $1,000 as evidence that inflation would irreparably alter American life as we know it. And now he's saying that if they go to the government crypto, the government Bitcoin, or whatever they call it, they'll trace it, which I actually do agree with. We do know, if you guys have been following this video blog for any length of time, that we do know that Bitcoin can be tracked and traced, and whatever currency they end up using will be tracked and traced. If it's a Fed coin or a USD coin or whatever the case might be, blockchain is technology that will be utilized to track and trace every transaction you participate in. So he does have that right, although the calling for these crashes and these other assets that he's into, he's talking about Solana, which has already gone up like crazy over the last, I don't know how many months, 15, 18 months, something like that. So again, you guys got to look at the other side of things, have the contrarian mindset. Don't take everything these guys say as their weight in gold. There's definitely a whole nother side to this stuff that you guys need to look into and really kind of figure out, analyze what's going on here. As far as our opinion goes, we think Bitcoin's already had its run. Even if it does go higher than 100K, you're still going to get way better gains than other altcoins. Even just look at the ones that have been around for a long time. You got Litecoin, OG, XRP has been an OG, XLM, all these other assets that are actually solving real world problems is where you guys need to be. I think you're taking a gamble if you're getting into these other assets that have just came out over the last 1 to 3 years. They really don't have a track record, so they could disappear at any time, as you saw with Mark Cuban's Titan token dropping a whopping 99% after Cuban announced that he was buying it. Again, why are they doing these things? Look at things from the other side and try and figure out exactly what's going on here. If you want our opinion, stay with the safe haven assets that have been around for 5 to 10 years. You'll be in good shape. So with that being said, good to be back. We'll catch you guys all in the next video.